Microphone check, 1, 2, what is this?
You're now listening to a brand new episode of the Play Big Faster podcast.
Look what you done started.
Talk to him.
Attorney, high-performance coach, and speaker Cherie Prince asks hard questions to really get to the bottom of what makes entrepreneurs tick. From starting a business, marketing, strategies, and the ins and outs of their industries. We talk everything from book recommendations, lifestyle hacks, and everything possible to get you inspired and motivated to build your own business. The Play Big Faster podcast starts now.
Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Play Big Faster podcast. We are joined today by high performance coach Julie Smith. Julie, welcome. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great, Cherie. Thank you so much for hosting me today. I really appreciate you having me here and for your community. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, no, look, it's not every day that we get joined by a high performance coach. And so we are here to squeeze out all the gems that we can while we have you. Tell us a little bit about who you are and who you serve.
So I'm a wife. I have a mom of 2 adult daughters. I'm a farm wife. I'm in the middle of corn country in Indiana. So I literally am looking out my window at cornfields. And I, of course, I'm an animal lover. And I am, by day, I am a scientist, leader, globally for an animal health manufacturing company. I lead a team of scientists for manufacturing animal health products. And then by nights, I work with high performers, high achievers who want to go to the next level in their life and they want to achieve their goals faster and have more balance in their life.
So tell us, how did you go from being a farm wife and a mother and wearing your cape by day and helping people by night?
So I would say in my corporate day job, right, one of the things I absolutely love doing is growing and developing my teammates and then also the other people that I work with. So I am always seeking out opportunities to understand what motivates people and where they want to grow and develop and where they want to get challenges for themselves. So I'm always trying to link up with people of what's your passion and how can I help you grow in that area?
Now, when you mentioned that you are a coach, I know a couple of people that say, oh, I'm a high performance coach or I'm a life coach. What makes what you do different in terms of any preparation that you had to do this thing?
Sure. So what makes me different is I'm actually a scientist by background. I'm a scientist by training. And so what makes me different is I'm naturally curious. So I'm always going to be asking you that next level question, but I'm going to do it in a way that's going to challenge you. I'll ask you for permission first, but I'm going to challenge you and I'm going to really challenge you to dig deep because that's where I'm going to go. I want to understand the how because I want to find that solution for you so you can get to your goals faster. And I'm not afraid to ask those curious questions.
You've also trained with, I guess I would go ahead and say the most well-known high-performance trainer. Now, I'm, shameless name drop, Brendon Burchard.
Brendon Burchard.
So what types of things do you bring into your coaching program from the certification that you have?
Sure. So what I love about Brendon's coaching program, the high-performance coaching program, is it is backed in 17 years of science, right? So me being a scientist, I love that it's rooted and backed in science. And that's what his book is based on. He's done studies in 190 countries. So he's determined from interviewing and talking and researching hundreds of thousands of high performers, what is it that defines somebody of high performance? How do they sustain it? And so that's what I've learned through his certification. And that's what I really love about that process.
Now, for those of us who have not gotten an opportunity to run out and get the book and we have not met you, what are some of those habits that you guys teach when you talk about high performance?
Sure. So there's 6 main keys with high performance. It's necessity. So all high performers have a sense of necessity, courage, clarity, influence, persuasion, productivity. Yeah, and I said persuasion. Yes.
Okay. And I guess you never really think about what is kind of turning in those high performance, if you're someone who is a high performer, what are the standards that actually get you there? So what does working with Julie look like?
So what I do is I like to meet with somebody and just, first of all, we're going to sit down that first session. I usually work in blocks of 12 sessions because, again, it's scientifically proven that, 3 months at a time, you're working on 3-month goals. But what I'll do is in that first session, I'll sit down and I'll say, what are you struggling with? What are the top goals in your life right now? So we'll look at 8 different areas of your life and we'll define, even if an area you rate as being really well, but maybe you want to take it to the next level, that's awesome. And we'll really work on that area for the next 12 weeks. And we'll focus on how to get more clarity in that area, how to raise necessity, how to increase productivity, how to be more courageous, and how to influence others so that you can gain what you're trying to gain.
Now, I heard you mention that you were in the middle of corn country. Do I have to physically meet with you, or do I have options in terms of, working with you during this 12-week period?
Sure. Everybody I've met with so far has all been virtual. I also have the ability to meet local, but definitely always the option to meet virtual, right? Especially in this day and age, Zoom and all the different platforms make it so easy.
I guess the other question is, because you do all these great things, what do you do? Like, what are some things that you do to relax and things that you encourage other entrepreneurs who work with you to do in terms of finding balance?
Sure. I think that's key, right? And I think that's one of the, and that's one of the pillars of high performance is clarity. What's important to you? And a lot of time, you can't be a high performer if you don't have balance in all areas of your life. So you have to know what it means to relax and unplug. You have to know especially when you're an entrepreneur, right? As an entrepreneur, you work so many more hours of the day. So you have to have a set end of day, and you need to put in place a habit that signifies end of day. So your body and your brain knows, and maybe that's walking through a doorway, right? Maybe it's a time on the clock and you have an alarm go off that signals end of day. And you do a ritual to allow yourself to say, my business is done. My work is done. Now it's time for me to go relax. Now it's time for me to go play. Now it's time for me to go connect with my family. But you need to be very intentional about what are those things that you define as play? Because we don't have enough fun anymore. We don't play. We need to play more.
And don't forget naps. Now, I know naps are not part of as an adult, I have a newfound respect for taking a nap. Yes.
Agreed. Agreed.
One of the other pillars that you discussed was courage. Mm-hmm. How do you teach courage?
Sure. I think, and that's one of the first things I start with whenever we talk on courage is asking the client, how do you define courage? So if you stop and think about it, how often do we think about how we define courage? Courage can be something very small. It doesn't have to be a large, heroic act like we see in the movie with the Avengers, right? Courage can just be speaking up for somebody that you see struggling. Courage could just be saying hi to somebody who looks like they're not having a great day. Courage is in the small, simple acts. And one of the first things that I do is I always ask my clients how they define courage and when was the last time they saw themselves being courageous. And it's very surprising when they start to really think about it, how small courage, the small acts that can actually be courageous in the long term.
And see, I guess I've never thought about it from that framework because high performance, the concept in and of itself is so powerful, but you don't really see it in action. So when you break it down into these 6 pillars, it's awesome. Now I'm just going to move over just a little bit because, I'm getting some free coaching here. Productivity. We want to know all your productivity hacks and how you measure that from a coaching standpoint when using the high performance model.
So the first thing we're going to talk about when we start talking on productivity is I want to know your clarity. I want to know, it starts with clarity. If you're not clear on what your goals are, then you can't be productive.
Okay, so let's take it back a step. Let's go back to clarity because I'm all out of order over here, okay? I'm all out. So when you talk about clarity and looking at a vision for your future, do you guys, in what blocks of time do you work with people in terms of looking at your future? Is it a 12-month ahead, 3 months, or what do we look at?
So I like to look at the larger macro view. So we'll say, if when I'm working with my client, I'll say, okay, you have a long-term, year-long goal, or maybe a 10-year goal, but let's build a road map, because even a year-long goal, even a month-long goal can feel like an elephant, right? Have you heard the phrase like eating the elephant, right? So those goals that are longer term can feel like an elephant and can feel unachievable. So then let's back those into smaller behavioral goals that you can do every day. So you have an outcome goal. Let's just say you want to lose 5 pounds. That's an outcome goal. Let's back that into small daily tasks you can do that are behavioral goals. That's the needle mover. We have to have behavioral goals. So what are you going to commit to every single day that you can do that will ultimately lead to losing 5 pounds? Is it you can add 1 more serving of vegetables every day, drink more water, get more sleep, get 5 minutes more sleep. I mean, very specific, get 5 more minutes of sleep, not eat out fast food 3 times a week, but have a meal at home. So I'll ask my client, be very specific about your behavioral goal, because if you don't change your behavior, you won't achieve the goal. And then I make sure that goal is realistic. Can you do it?
Julie, this is so good. Okay, so we're still talking about clarity because I'm seeing where we are. What sort of assessments? Is there a written assessment? Did you guys go through just a back and forth exchange? How do you actually get started with the clarity piece?
So clarity actually starts with thinking about how you want to show up for yourself every day. How do you want to show up for your loved ones every day? And how do you want to show up for the broader community that you serve every day? And when we go through that exercise as part of high performance coaching, I have my clients think of 3 words in each of those categories. So for example, how I want to show up for myself every day is I want to show up with a mindset of abundance, a mindset of action, and a mindset of appreciation. Those are my 3 words that how I ground myself and focus on clarity of how I want to show up every day.
So we have clarity, and I guess I've kind of gotten us out of order on this, but this is such good stuff. So once we move past the clarity piece, it is a 12-month basic engagement with you, right?
It's 12 weeks, but it's
yes.
Yeah. So we go 12 weeks at a time, and then we start again because it's again scientifically proven when you focus on goals 12 weeks, 3 months at a time, you're more successful.
Now, is this a group coaching or is this one-on-one?
I actually have both because I realized, right, there are great benefits from being in a group coaching setting because then you can also work with the others in the group. And it's also great to hear, it's one thing for me just to tell a client and share my experiences and my stories, but when a client, they're hearing other people's experiencing the same thing that they do, that also helps them brainstorm and realize they're not alone. So I offer group coaching and I also offer one-on-one coaching. And the one-on-one coaching, for sure, because it's one-on-one, we get to go a lot deeper and I get to spend a lot more time and we have a lot more accountability.
Awesome. Now, going back to being the farm wife, tell us up in corn, what type of farm is it?
Sure. So kind of interesting. My husband's family has been farming the same ground here for over 150 years. So we have corn, soybeans. We do have a few cattle and not part of the farm, but we definitely have some dogs and cats. So
yeah, that's not farm, that's family.
Yeah, so, they're family, the fur babies.
Yes, pets are like family, definitely like family. And that is so great. Now, in looking with your coaching program as well, what are your plans in terms of being able to serve more people? Because it sounds like we just want more of Julie. So if we want to let people know how they can contact you and how they can know more about your coaching programs and what you offer, what do I need to tell them, Julie?
Sure. I would say just go to my website. There you're going to find my most current offerings. I'm always adding new ways to interact. So it's juliesmithlifecoach.com. So if you go to that website, you'll find me there. And you'll see one-on-one coaching, you'll see group coaching. And most recently, I'm adding menopause coaching. I recently went through menopause. Of course, I went through menopause in 2020. What a great time to go through menopause, right? Let's just add that on top of everything else. And, what I learned working with medical professionals is there's still a lot of misunderstanding. There's still a lot of help not available. And you know what? I said, okay, that's enough. I'm going to figure this out because I know there's information. I know there's research. I know there's studies out there. So I'm currently finishing up a certification to do menopause coaching for women who are working their way through menopause and how to gain back a sense of control, because it truly feels like you will lose control of some aspects of your life. That's a passion, having gone through it myself, is, what can I offer? How can I help fellow women going through menopause so that they're not feeling alone, so that they can gain back some control of their lives and embrace who they are going through this big change in their life.
So, in navigating this portion of your coaching program, is this also a 12-week engagement or is this a different component?
This will be a different component. So I'm looking at maybe doing something that's more long-term. So maybe doing like a 6 months and then allowing, more of an evergreen opportunity for people just to continue on, because, right, menopause doesn't just stop magically overnight, one night. And working through menopause and the different symptoms of how you're feeling and what's going on in your life, it takes time. It also takes time trying to figure out what works for you, because every woman's different. Everybody experiences something different. And for instance, I just recently found out I have an allergy to eggs. And this didn't happen until I got into menopause. So for me, I've been working through that whole nutrition piece of taking eggs out of my diet and replacing them with a different type of protein. So when I'm working with a client, we're going to be partnering with their medical professional, but then it's going to take, some time. It takes some patience to explore, okay, how can we optimize everything for the best for that woman?
And those are just some things that I think are often overlooked. Traditionally, there has not been a lot of education that's really available, much, and not even coaching programs that would even broach the subject of menopause. So I think it's great that, you're sharing your story in such an authentic way, and then offering to help other people who are going through the same journey.
For sure. Because I felt, I go to my doctor, she's a woman. I tell her, I'm gaining weight. And she's like, yes. And I just, okay, we got to put a plan together. What do we do here? So that's my goal. I don't want women going to their doctors and just getting a head nod and a pat on the back and send them out the door. Let's empower this and make a plan.
Well, great. And listen, is there anything else that you'd like to share that could possibly, help people that are looking for services like the ones that you offer?
Sure. I think, for me, I got into becoming a life coach because about 3 years ago, I just felt stuck, almost burnt out, and I wasn't excited about anything anymore. I mean, I'm blessed. I have a wonderful family. I have a great job. And I thought, what is wrong with you? You have wonderful people around you. You have a great job. Why do you feel stuck? Why do you feel burnt out? And it was because I wasn't challenging myself anymore. I wasn't growing anymore. I've been in my job for a number of years. I, could do it pretty easily, and I wasn't challenging myself. I'd gotten too comfortable, and I didn't like it. And I wanted to do something that was exciting, that would grow and stretch me. I wanted to get some scary goals, and I wanted to shoot for them. And that's really what drove me into life coaching, because I thought, I can't be the only person who feels this way. And I started learning and growing and taking on new challenges. And I wanted to share that with others, especially entrepreneurs, because I know being an entrepreneur can be very lonely, right? You feel like you're doing a lot of things on your own, and you don't have to be alone. And that was something else that I also felt. I felt very alone, even though I was surrounded by a lot of people. So that was a goal I set for myself, was to get myself into a community of people, and also to grow and challenge myself. And that's how I found life coaching. And once I started life coaching, it felt like home. I knew I was in the right place, and I just have so much more energy and excitement in all areas of my life now.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. And hopefully there are some people that can use some of the tools that you have available. And until next time, this has been another episode of the Play Big Faster podcast. Until later, play big faster.
Do you want to start your own business? Confused about where to begin? Not sure if you can do this? I'm glad you made your way here. Cut through the confusion. I invite you to join in on the 5-day Play Big Faster Challenge. You'll get step-by-step guidance on how to start and scale your dream business faster. 5 days perfectly structured. Build the business you've always dreamed of without spending tons of money and hiring consultants or a lot of staff. Join the challenge today at www.playbigfaster.com.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Play Big Faster podcast. Want more entrepreneurial content?
I like this.
Make sure to subscribe for future episodes.
Already subscribed.
I just clicked on it.
Don't forget to like and leave a review. Share with a friend that needs this in their life.
I think you need this more than I.
Oh, and make sure to follow Cherie on IG at Cherie Speaks. And remember to play big faster.